online lifetime versus one another?
That's a really good question.
Roughly.
If I could only give you a rough estimate, I would say around 70,000, maybe 60. That'd be my official guess.
60,000, and we have seen 207 hands today.
Right.
60,000 hands versus one another. It's pretty amazing to even think about.
It's crazy stuff. So I think Dan put in the 4-bet here. So this is the first light 4-bet we've seen today. All the other 4-bets I think have been like aces, queens, unless I'm forgetting one. So interesting spot here for Doug. He's very, very deep. Normally 10s is a hand you're just going to 5-bet shove with. Standard stuff. But when you're 200 blinds deep, that is just not an option. You're risking way too much to win way too little. So he does just call, which makes sense. Not your favorite flop with 10s, but not your least favorite either.
$23,000 in the middle already. Doug not going away just yet. Makes the call. 37 in the middle. To the turn we go. A queen of diamonds.
Much better card for Doug's range here. Jungle's not going to 4-bet with too many Queen X hands pre-flop. Maybe like a Queen Jack offsuit on occasion. Maybe like a Queen 7 suited on occasion. But for the most part, this is going to be better for Doug. The other thing is, Jungle might check back with those queens that I just mentioned on the flop. So kind of a tough card for Jungle.
Fun fact, you might think that these guys dressed up for this, but this is just how they dress on a daily basis.
Yeah, like normally when you see Doug Polk, I know he's not wearing this, but because that's his video wear. This is his casual.
Right,
this is casual Doug Polk.
He's cosplaying as Doug Polk when he's not wearing this. He sleeps in this. He showers in this. Jungleman too, of course, showers and sleeps in his item.
His item.
His item, yeah.
That's what we call it.
It's actually, I say that because it's all one piece. You can't tell.
It's a onesie.
Yeah, including the hat. Let's talk about the poker a little bit, I guess. I guess we can do that. So we get a little spicy pre-flop with Jungleman's 4-bet. It's an interesting 4-bet. Why would he choose a hand like this to 4-bet in this heads-up match?
Best guess is that the hands that he might normally choose to 4-bet in bigger games. Now, when I say bigger, I'm sorry, I mean like ring games versus heads up, like more players, 6 max, stuff like that, are hands that actually he can call with. Like ace 5, you can absolutely call a 3-bet with in position, heads up, 200 blinds deep, no problem. But in a full ring game, you absolutely wouldn't do that, right? So you'd either 4-bet it as a bluff or you would fold. But this is a hand. So he's got to find other hands to pick to turn into bluffs, and so here we are with Jack 8 suited.
Right, and it's a suited gapper, so it has less playability post flop than something like Jack 10 suited, which he might prefer to just call with and see a flop. And this way, he gets to win the pre-flop sometimes. Of course, not against 10s, which we could talk at length about if Polk should 5-bet or not, but we don't really need to. We did that on our podcast. It seems pretty clear that calling is the right option here, and that's what Doug ends up doing.
Yeah, agreed.
We get the flop that's like, not so great for either player, but at least it's a little something for either player. Is there anything different that either player could do here besides what they did? It seems pretty clear and straightforward.
I like jungle betting really small on this board specifically. He's going to fold out, Doug pretty inelastically. So,
nice.
Yeah, so Doug's going to fold out like his smaller pocket pairs, I think, probably on a board like this, at least some of the time. And no pairs that are 9 or higher and no gut shots anyway.
Right. So you might as well bet small. And, of course, Doug cannot fold. And raising feels like I don't know why you would do that.
Yep, seems weird.
So calling makes sense. So let's get to the turn here.
Okay.
The most interesting thing here is if Jungleman should check or not.
Yeah.
So Doug checking makes a lot of sense. We went in depth in our podcast on that. At first, it feels like, yeah, of course you check as Jungleman because Doug could have a queen, right? But then we talked about it a little bit deeper, and it feels like, maybe you could bet. Maybe, like, we do have Jack high here, and Doug has plenty of stuff that's not a queen, too. It would be pretty nice to win the hand with Jack high and equity against most things, right?
Is Doug going to call 2 10s if we bet again? I'm not sure.
I would guess not if we bet a chunky size, which I expect a turn bet to be 20 to 25K.
Yeah. So I think we can fold that a 9, like a rando 9, ace 9 or something like that.
Yeah.
Pretty comfortably, I would think. A king, I assume, is calling. A queen is calling.
Yeah. That's the problem.
Yep.
That's a lot of Doug's range.
That is a lot of Doug's range. It's true. So that's the decision Jungle has to face. The problem, of course, is if we check, I mean, it's hard to win the pot that often. Like, it can go, Doug can check a lot of rivers and we can bomb it, but, like, it's hard to win.
I mean, if Doug checks the river, he still has a lot of kings that he's not going to fold.
Exactly.
Which kind of sucks.
Exactly.
But, so the question becomes, is giving up now the right move because we just can't get him to fold too much of the range anyway? Or should we really go for it to give ourselves at least a chance to win the pot? Because it feels like unless we improve, we're not going to win the pot on the river anyway.
I think it's pretty unclear what Jungle's supposed to do. I might when we went over the amount of value that Jungle can have, which was like all the full houses, basically, like maybe all of them, and a bunch of trip queens. It seemed like he probably can bet here, and it's probably okay because this is one of the worst hands he's probably betting, continuing to bet with here. Like if he has a small pocket pair, he might have checked it.
Yeah.
But this is just jack high.
Well, he decides jack high, check. I hope it's okay. You know?
So be it. Free card.
Free card. How about free your spirits on Nitro Betting, where the spirits fly free, man? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Spirit in the Sky. Let's go.
Yeah, it keeps on turning. That's the wheel in the sky. I
Yep.
forgot. But, there's probably wheels on Nitro Betting. They got all sorts of betting products on there. I'm sure wheels are part of them.
You can bet on wheels.
You can bet on wheels. Have you seen Wheel of Fortune? Pat Sajak bets his life on that wheel every day. That's the whole point of Wheel of Fortune. And on Nitro Betting, you don't have to bet your life. You just have to join using the link in our pinned tweet to get access to all of our cool stuff. And your Wheel of Fortune will turn towards non-bankruptcy, perhaps.
Perhaps.
No guarantees.
Not surprised to see him check back.
Agreed. And now it's row your boat gently down the river, tens full.
Yeah, what a nasty run out here. So now Jungle makes a straight in this 4-bet pot. He's not going to, raise should he face a bet. But wow, Doug's going for the trap. This is a really interesting one. I would expect Jungle to come for some value here.
Wow.
But this would be a spicy check back if he found it.
One of the hands of the afternoon, now early evening, 7:30 Central Standard Time. Like and subscribe to the channel, folks. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, we stream at 3 o'clock. Deputy Dan thinking of the right number, but he is dead. Carving out some big league chew here. A healthy bet coming from the deputy. Doug.
I feel like I got trapped, but I call.
It was straight.
Makes the call 94,000 going Doug's way.
All right, this is where the smartass at the table says, "Where's the rest of the pot?"
Yeah.
You hear that one every day. But luckily we're heads up, so we don't have to hear somebody say that. Unless the announcer said, "I don't know, I wasn't paying enough attention." It's possible the announcer said it.
I think we should spend more time talking about this.
We could, but instead let's talk about the actions in the hand.
Oh, okay.
I think probably the most notable action on the river, tied with his other action probably, is Polk checking initially.
Yeah.
When it went check on the turn.
Yeah.
Your thoughts, Jonathan?
I'm really surprised Doug checks here. When Jungleman absolutely can have a jack. He can have ace jack. There aren't that many full houses to be afraid of, I don't think, because Dan checked back the turn. It's just not that likely. By the way, we should be at least open to stacking off here as Doug with a hand this strong. We can, if we were to get shoved, if we bet and get shoved on, I guess we could think about it and figure it out. But this is a very, very strong hand, heads up especially. I'm surprised we don't bet on a board this scary where I'd be concerned that a hand even as strong as ace queen might just check back.
Yeah, you touched on the key there at the end. The jacks are not a huge deal to me because Jungleman's probably going to bet those anyway.
Yes.
But ace queen and any king are likely to, if not definitely going to check back, right? As Jungleman when this card rolls off on the river. So we want to give ourselves a chance to get value from that, you would think. And we can set the price. We can bet pot. And Jungleman, especially with a queen, which blocks all the full houses and is definitely a candidate to check back, will certainly consider calling because that's a better bluff catcher than a lot of by rank superior hands due to its blocker nature, right? Mm-hmm. So it feels like that's the best way to get value out of those hands, doesn't it?
Yeah. Instead, what Doug is doing, it seems, is trying to induce a bluff from air balls, like ace 5 suited that missed, took a shot on the flop, and then was giving up the turn, and now the scare card comes and Doug looks like, oh no, I've got a bad king and I don't know what to do, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And please try and scare me off this bad king, when in fact he's got a full house.
Yeah. So I think I am a little surprised to see the check as well. Just a lot because of the queens in Jungleman's range and also the kings, which might decide to call a big bet too if they decide it's a polarizing bet and they have a reasonable blocker.
Surely what Doug is doing, though, is he's mixing here, right? So
Yeah.
sometimes he's checking this hand, sometimes he's betting this hand, so that way it's even harder for Jungleman.
Absolutely. That's Doug's whole thing. He likes to
Yes.
mix.
Yep.
He's a baker. He mixes the cookies. Oh, wait, he's a cop in this one. He's a baker in the
He's
other
a
one.
sheriff in this one, please.
Okay, excuse me. They're all cops. They're different types of cops.
Wow.
There's
Wow. I can't
police-
believe you right now.
A police officer is different than a sheriff, but they're both cops. All right? I'll die on that hill.
Anyway.
Anyway, Jungleman is a pretty easy value bet here. Try to get heroed
Yes.
by a king or a queen.
Yeah.
So there's the next decision here. The where's the rest of the pot decision.
Yeah.
One factor is that Jungleman did bet pretty big, right? Like maybe Doug would be more inclined to raise if Jungleman bet something like 15K versus the 28.5K. Do you think that would make a difference to Doug?
Probably, yeah. This bet is, like oftentimes people bet big in these spots when they've got a strong-ish hand, but they bet enough so that way it's when someone makes a big raise, like they almost always have to have it. It's like hard because you're already being polarized yourself, right? So there's no reason to bluff here because, like I guess you could bluff, but like all the medium strength hands, even the pretty strong hands are just going to call because you look super strong or super weak.
Right. So let's go over why we think Doug ultimately chose to call rather than raise.
Okay.
Not whether or not we think it's right, but why he would do it.
Yeah.
One obvious reason would be he thinks he can't get called by worse hands that often.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good reason
Yeah.
to just call, right?
Like, I don't think Jungleman's calling with this hand. If he has
No way.
just a jack and he gets check shoved on this river, I think that's a pretty simplistic fold against almost everybody in the world.
To be clear, when you say just a jack, you mean a jack without a blocker, right? Because like queen jack, I think he might find a call.
Yeah, queen jack is one of the premium bluff catchers that Jungleman could have because he blocks full houses and he has a straight himself.
Yes.
And he blocks ace jack just in case Doug would go for really thin value with ace jack, which we know he wouldn't because he didn't with tens.
Yes.
Right. So it seems like Doug feels like there's not enough of those hands out there that can consider calling. Do you think that's accurate?
I don't know is the truth. I think it's a really tough spot to try and figure out if this is a move in or if this is a just call. If Jungleman is good enough to fold 9-9 here and ace jack here, well, this would be a terrible hand to move in with, right?
Well, that depends, right? Because if he's gonna fold those hands but call with queen jack and jack 10 and hands like that have blockers to full houses,
jack 9
then
suited.
it kind of all comes out in the wash.
Maybe
and
it's
and
okay.
you still get called by weaker hands, even if you get called by the worst weaker hands by rank, but they have better blockers.
I mean, we're obviously never folding. Not that we'd be trying to, but we're never folding out a better hand.
No, impossible. It's impossible.
It may, I don't know, maybe Doug is worried it almost looks too strong when you're effectively clicking back the all in.
But
where
it's not
just
his fault that he's clicking.
No, I
back.
understand, but it's just like you have to have it.
Yeah.
You know, like if he had more chips and he moves in, if he has 90,000 instead or 100,000 he moves in here, maybe that makes it look
bluffier.
and so you can get heroed sometimes, but like you just kind of have to have it when Jungleman decides to bet anyway here.
Yeah. Ultimately, I think this is like a spot that we didn't figure out. It's really hard to know if Doug made a mistake or not by not moving in. I don't think it could be a big mistake if it's a mistake at all.
No way.
It's, knowing Doug and his heads up record, it's probably correct.
My guess is that if Doug moves in, Jungleman folds almost all the better the hand's better than what he has, except the stuff with the blockers, and maybe there's just not enough of those.
Right.
And so be it.
And of course, calls with all the hands that beat Doug.
100%. Never folding a better hand,
Yeah.
right? Ever in a million years.
Yeah, so
never folding king queen.
So it's probably right to just call here as Doug.
Probably.
But if it feels nitty, right?
It feels really nitty, and it's heads up, which also like, boy, you hate to give away a whole bunch of money by just calling in a spot where you can get called by a worse hand.
But I get it.
Yep.
I get it. Let's see what the solver said.
Okay.
All right, let's see how these heads-up GTO Masters did according to the solver as done by Wesley Cannon.
Okay.
Especially Doug Polk is known for his GTO
Ness.
strategy and heads-upness. So he should do everything perfectly, right? I guess we'll find out. Wesley didn't do any preflop stuff. He never does. It would be interesting to know what a solver thinks about the 4-bet with Jack-8 suited and if that's like within a solver's discretion, if it feels okay about that. Hard to know. But we got to the flop. Kate should bet, and Pio likes his sizing. Wesley gave the option to do half pot instead of the smaller sizing. Pio likes this sizing. Surprising output here. Pio likes a fold from tens already. Time to get rid of them, even the pair and the straight draw.
I can't believe it. That seems crazy.
Well, the ranges are deeply condensed because it's a 4-bet pot. So that does affect that, I'm sure. Still, it feels like that is just way too nitty for 7K into 30K.
Doesn't feel like we have 6 outs a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Like a great percentage of the time. I mean,
Or we're ahead.
and we can be ahead sometimes. Like, by the way, right now, wow, I can't believe they just want to bet. I mean, fold. Solver. Come on.
Yeah, and he's getting like 4.5 to 1 too.
It's really weird.
It is, but that's what Pio says.
Okay.
All right, on the turn, unsurprisingly, Poke should check.
Yeah.
Jungle checked back, but the solver doesn't like that. Wants him to keep barreling.
Really?
Yeah. Relevant to the river, he should also bet if he has kings or queens, according to the solver. So quads or kings.
Pocket
full.
kings or pocket queens.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. So it doesn't like the check back from Jungle, and doesn't like the call from Poke on the flop. So 2 mistakes so far, according to Pio. These guys aren't that good, I guess. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
All right, on the river, the solver really doesn't like this. It wants Poke to bet tens 100% of the time, never check.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that makes plenty of sense to me. Try to get value. Concerned about checkbacks on this run out, et cetera, et cetera.
I mean, it went check on the turn, so I understand why the solver's like, are you really just going to let him check back here? Like, such a big part of his range. Like,
maybe
what are
Doug
we
Polk
doing?
knew what the GTO options were in like 2013 or something, but he's not
my
updated
God.
his charts. And
Come
stuff.
on, Dougie.
Dougie boy. Yeah, anyway, he checks. It works out for him anyway because Jungleman bets. Should Jungleman have bet? The answer is no.
It's amazing.
According to Pio, Ace Jack is the only straight he should bet. He shouldn't even bet the four-liner straight.
I'm surprised, but I guess this is when we're thinking about what we're betting for value here. I guess we're not even betting any queen apparently.
Well, maybe that's a bet. Wesley didn't get into that. Maybe that's
Yeah.
a bet, whereas this is not because of the blocking of full houses.
I mean, if we have like ace queen, that's kind of cool. We block queen jack. We block ace jack.
Yeah.
We do have. I don't know.
So-
We're basically trying to get called by a king if we do that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe that's a bet, and this isn't because
maybe.
of the full house blockers. And Polk did it right. Finally, just calling tens is the only play the solver wants.
Yeah.
And that's what it gets from Dougie Polk.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I would have thought the solver would be going for max value here.
Well, you would have thought wrong.
I'm surprised by many of the things the solver has said once again. But that doesn't mean it's wrong or right. It's just what the solver thinks, bro.
Robots.
It's an exploitative game, man. Wow. So the solver had a lot to say, disagreeing with Mr. Cates, disagreeing with Mr. Polk, disagreeing with Mr. Levy and Mr. Dennison at times. What do you guys think? Are you on the board with all the solver stuff here or what? Do you think Doug, for example, should fold tens on the flop? Because that's crazy to us. Do you think, like, on the river, Doug should be betting and should only be calling when checked to? Do you think Jungle should only be checking back this hand? I don't know, man. I'm surprised. Weigh in on the comments, or really in the comments. Also on them. But feel free to weigh in on the comments. Do it all.
Luckily for you, when you write in, unlike Jonathan who is speaking, you can edit what you've written and redo it.
There's no editing.
Yeah, there's no editing in this. But, you can edit your Discord comments, too, which is pretty cool. Go to Discord. There's a link in the description to join our Discord. We'll see you there.
Okay.